Here is Bob. He owns a business. Bob had his uncle's cousin's nephew build him a website. Unfortunately, that website looks like a website that was built in Bob's uncle's cousin's mom's basement. Don't be like Bob. Let a professional build your website. If you want an affordable website that looks expensive and a website that can be found by your customers, visit don'tbelikebob.com and let them know you heard about them on this show to get 10% off.
Sioux Empire Podcast 136, Groundhog's Day, with Jordan Deffenbaugh.
A pathless wilderness, wild, rugged, that was South Dakota. A hardy frontier, far from the paths of civilization.
Why die on Mars when you can live in South Dakota?
Where fortune beckoned with a glittering smile.
I was hauling pigs on the interstate. You were in a red car having a problem with your shirt.
And life hung on the quickness of a trigger finger.
Podcast Palooza. I thought you were going to say something.
The Sioux Empire Podcast.
And welcome again to another fantastic episode of the Sioux Empire Podcast. This is the Sioux Empire Podcast, the quirky but harmless podcast that's all about Sioux Empire news, comedy, music, and culture. As always, I am your host, Robert Mailing, and joining me today is long absent, but we're very, very happy to have back co-host Natasha to the Burry. Not I almost said your name. It's like Natasha the Cheeseman Burry. Welcome back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's radio. If you so
yeah, I get it.
Sound
good. Also joining me is, as always, is tail gunner, co-pilot. I don't know if those two things are compatible. Why not? What the hell? It's my hypothetical plane here. Seth Glover.
It's Saturday. It's Sunday. Wait, it's sunny and it's Sioux Falls. Go fuck yourself. All right. Hey, I'm here.
Good to have you here.
Hey.
And then also joining us is Jordan Deffenbaugh from Bomb. Deffenbaugh.
Bah.
Deffenbaugh. God damn it.
Yeah, it's
You hit
fine.
every other one. That was pretty good.
Bach works too, because that's like the German. There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So, anyway, Jordan is here again to talk about some of the stuff he didn't get to in part one. And since it's Groundhog Day, it seemed appropriate that as long as we're trapped in this time loop, we might as well make the most of it. So, without further ado, let's get our game on.
It's time for game time. What's up, everybody? This week, I am reviewing Ubisoft Steep. I don't know if you've noticed, if you're subscribed to PlayStation Network. It's free right now. I think it's till February 5th, so it's already gone unless you are in Groundhog Day, and then when you hear this in 14 days, you'll still be able to get it for free on PlayStation Network. So Steep, it's free, but so it's got its problems. I think maybe a fall from Everest might be a little less painful. No,
ouch.
But yeah, it's not good. So I guess I'll start off with the good though. The game does feature a great multiplayer mode in it where everything works pretty well, and yeah, there's no glitching, or at least none that I've come across in the multiplayer. But in the regular game, so after a while, after you're like playing the game for like 10 minutes or whatever, well, probably more like an hour because time flies. I put 20 or so hours into this in the last 2 weeks. Like, it's addicting, but it sucks. I was hate playing it. Like, I was watching some shitty Netflix series, but No, I was playing a shitty game that was like really clunky, and it takes a lot of practice to get a good feel for it and to actually enjoy the game, which is about snowboarding. So steep, like the mountain. Your snowboarder, it's presented by, or it's got X Games associated with it, so you have a few different methods to get down that hill. You can snowboard, you can ski, you have a rocket suit, wingsuit. You also have like I guess that's the wingsuit where it's like you're a flying squirrel sort of thing, just you in the wind, baby. So I mean that's kind of cool, but when you're playing multiplayer, they don't let you choose which modes you want to play, which is I
hate that.
Yeah. So whenever it gets to the rocket wing mode, everybody drops out, and that's one of the worst things about multiplayer as well. Is that so they consist of 6 events, each multiplayer sort of event or challenge. It's you and 3 other people. You're doing either tricks or races or something like that. But there's 6 events in there. So if you're coming into a game that's already in progress, like even 2 events in, you're fucked. You have no way of getting those extra points. So that is really it's a downfall in multiplayer. But I guess you can live with it. It's not the worst. It still works. Okay. Sorry guys. I love this game so much. So the worst part about it is the campaign mode, the story mode. Like, you go to first of all, their map is not very intuitive. It's not. They should have taken a note from Rockstar Games, because this map that Ubisoft puts forth, it's like they've got, some things, buttons, and what they do on the bottom right, but then they have like some up in the top left too, and it's fucking, I didn't even notice it, and I was pushing the button, and I was doing things, and I was like, what is this? And it was just labeled not where the other shit is labeled. Fucking A, man. But I got a projector screen, man. I can't look all the way up in the top left, man, when you got the other thing talking about putting in dang old same spot and talking about.
It's been Boomhauer Reviews Games.
Yeah, but it's not over yet. So the story modes, like the actual events, consist of you listening to this ominous, creepy voice that's supposed to be the voice of the mountain, and it's supposed to like, hit you. Yeah.
What? Yeah. Earlier I was going to make a joke about this thing having a storyline at all, and now I'm just like, okay, now it's getting interesting.
The voice of the mountain?
Mm-hmm.
What does that voice sound like?
It's a booming voice, and other times it's not. It's a female voice. It's a strong female voice.
Well, yeah, I'm fine with a strong female voice, right, but a mountain?
Yeah, a mountain's
voice. Did you just assume a mountain's gender? No.
Yeah. No, never. I would never comment on your peaks. But as snowy and as peaking as they might be.
Totes peaking.
But those, like, you're still, like, you're hearing the voice of the mountain, but yet you're following the slowest snowboarder in the history of ever. So, because, like, you have to, like, hit the brakes constantly, or else you'll fly past the fucking guy. Because they have to ride real slow, because the mountain talks real slow.
It's basically like a snowboarding escort mission?
Yes, that's all these story modes is.
Ew.
I mean, down
Kill
the
it in
hill.
A fire. Ew.
Yeah.
Poke it until it's dead, and then tell me it's dead.
No, gross.
But and I'll upload this to the Sioux Empire's YouTube video. I captured its glitch. And basically, you've been playing the game for like an hour, a couple hours, and after a while, it will give you this message, an impressive amount of lines. And it will tell you that it can't save the number of lines that you're doing because you've, reached the max capacity for it. Because it apparently saves, like, your path down the mountain, and you can keep pressing like triangle. Like, so if I biff it, I can push, hold down triangle, go back to where I was.
Yeah.
So you do that like 20 times, and then it hits you with that message, an impressive amount of lines. It's like it's Disneyland. It's an impressive amount of lines. It's like you're in the back of a limo with Paris Hilton. It's, they're telling you it's an impressive amount of lines. The line cooks that Chef Gordon has the number of line cooks that Chef Gordon has yelled at. Impressive. But anyway, so the game will glitch out. You'll be reverted. You'll go back to your starting point, and you can't move at all. Can't move. You have to quit the game, and then when you go back into the game, you do it one time, and it gives you the same goddamn impressive number of lines, fucking message, and then you just play multiplayer because that doesn't glitch out. But you're just trying to do one fucking thing, and impressive amount of lines. Like, what are you, Robin Williams in the fucking 80s? Impressive amount of lines. Impressive amount.
Did Robin Williams say that at some point?
He just did a lot of cocaine.
Yeah. True.
It sounds like something he'd say. So.
Yeah.
So anyway, Steep, even for free, it's not worth it.
Wow.
Thanks for listening to Game Time. I don't like your outro, but I don't have a better closer.
Pretty good closer.
It's a good closer. I just wish
especially when the review is a negative one.
Yeah.
It's usually when it's positive one, it's a little off. But for this one, that seems perfect.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be negative about the ending before the ending.
It's all good, man. And with that, it's interview time. Well, Jordan, welcome back. I'm glad you were able to navigate the our time vortex here and end up here in the second iteration of this loop. At least I hope it's only the second one.
This is the first time I've met you.
I know.
Welcome.
Hey.
Thanks for sitting on the green couch. I hear good things.
But that being said, we talked a little bit about your ongoing podcast project, Studio B, that you're a part of. But you had some other topics that you wanted to get to. Many a thing that you would like to speak of and to. So let's pick right up where we left off. Tell me about, what's the deal with you and Strong Towns?
Okay, so Strong Towns has been a bit of an obsession of mine for the past almost a year now. Chuck Marone, who is a civil engineer turned urban planner turned activist, started this movement called Strong Towns back about 10 years ago or so. It started with a blog. That's what he started, and he was all about looking at how we build cities. How do we build? How do we scale and develop? And are we betting on large-scale development rather than small incremental shifts? And if we look at through history, that's how great cities were built, step by step, not big swaths of land cleared out and like basically plugged down buildings. So this whole nonprofit is focused on building resilient communities through incremental development. While he came into Sioux Falls, he spoke. I thoroughly enjoyed it because I've been very invested in terms of how our city is growing, how it is being built. I am very much for walkable communities. It's a crazy concept. You use your legs and you walk to places to get food and drink and all the amenities.
Walking?
It's crazy, right? It's pretty innovative. It's a little European.
Did we lose a war? Are we poor now? What happened?
Do you have to wear a Speedo? I don't know if you know
I
how
love
cold
Speedos.
it is. But there's... I mean...
Is our money going to be all crazy colors and have like buildings instead of people in it now?
I mean, I think it'd be kind of cool, right? Like little holographic stuff on
Yeah,
there.
Actually, all said and done, the Euros are kind of like cool.
They're
looking.
sick. Yeah, they're rad. Anyway, started a local conversation here. You go on the website, you fill out a little form, and then you start a chapter, so to speak. And I, with myself and another individual, started meeting every week since June about, and or May. We're about in May, and we just kept meeting every single week. Now we've sort of grown a bit of a following, just in terms of the Sioux Falls Strong Towns group, with our events that we have on Wednesdays. It's just 5:30 at the Source. We sit down and we talk about what's going on in the community. We talk about things that we would love to see develop in the community. And interesting things have spun out of it, just in terms of my own projects or like what people are working on. So it's a bit of a think tank.
You meet, it's like, is this every Wednesday?
Every Wednesday.
Really?
5:30, yep.
Okay.
Every Wednesday. We didn't do it this Wednesday because the Source was closed because it was
so damn cold.
So damn cold. That was the first one I think we canceled. Otherwise, we've had one every single Wednesday since May.
Cool.
So the idea is to kind of just stoke, like, I came back to Sioux Falls because I saw an opportunity. Sioux Falls is booming.
Yes,
there's a lot of we're pregnant with opportunities, where there's so many things that are about to happen.
Has anyone told Sioux Falls that she's pregnant with opportunities?
I know. We
don't want to say
we don't want to say anything.
We're not sure.
We'll wait later on in the trimester. Third trimester.
It's just out of the holidays.
See
it could be a Christmas food baby.
Yeah, true.
You don't want to offend Sioux Falls.
No,
she can be a real bitch, a real cold bitch.
Yeah.
So I think what I came back to Sioux Falls about it would have been almost 2 years ago. And
where'd you go?
I was all over. I ran a theater down in Lincoln, Nebraska for a number of years. It was a Haymarket theater. I went to school for theater at UNL. Then I gigged around the country for a few years, and then I did a circumnavigation of the planet. So I went across Eurasia, did that for 7 months or something like that. I came back, and then I came back to the States, but I kept traveling. I spent a lot of time on the West Coast, and then I came back here, and I came here to focus on construction, working with my family's companies, trying to get into affordable housing and whatnot. But I realized that a lot of the issues with affordable housing don't really have to do with construction techniques so much. They have to do with just what the market expects, or what we're being told we should expect.
Yeah.
And
how we groom the consumers.
Yes. No, you want this because it has higher margin. You want this because this is the development plan that we have set out 10 years ago. But so it's really about Strong Towns is all about building a stronger town. It's all about making it cool, and that's not just like in the vein of building more roads. Or more restaurants or whatever. What you do is it's about how do you stimulate culture within
culture.
Culture. Yeah.
It's out beyond the cold.
It's European culture.
Sounds fancy.
Culture. But yeah, it's and I think I'm actually really excited right now with. Someone last night, we had this art installation. I'm going to talk about it a little bit. But last night, we had an art installation last night. And somebody, as they're leaving, we're going to meet again to talk about the next art installation. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'll try to get there. It's just, there's so much going on. And I'm like, just hold that moment for a second. You said, there's so much going on. I've never heard someone say that, like, in earnest. In this moment. And I think it is. I think right now, I think there's actually like a lot of activity from a lot of different sources that I hadn't seen either when I was growing up here or when like the past 2 years I've been here.
The difference between like when I went to college not far from here and would just come here basically to check for the restaurants and then leave compared to now is like amazing. I'm just like, you're talking about there's so much going on right now. It's like, I literally have 2 friends who are going to be disappointed tonight about me not going to their event because I'd already promised that tonight I would go to a third friend's event that's going on. And it's just like, they're all like a live comedy performance or a play or something like that. And I'm just like...
Well, Oleana's going on. I can't...
I went Thursday because that's the only day it was going that I didn't have a previous commitment.
I was opening a podcast studio on Thursday. Last night I had an art installation. Tonight I work at my side job, and it's like, I can't go. And I'm like, I mean, that's cool that like there are things happening. I'd love to see Oleana because I love that play. But I am just so excited to see people actually doing things, producing things. Just try it. I'm all for like, be risky, do weird shit. Like, I want way more weird shit to be happening in this town. Like, there's no reason we're a bunch of weirdos for living here. but I mean, like our first we had a Strong Towns potluck, December 5th. We built. What's that?
We can have potlucks again?
Yeah, right. We did a potluck. It was awesome. And we had like I would say about solid 40, 50 people show up. Nice. And we had this installation. So we were actually debuting this thing that we were sort of stoking. We're going to be ramping it up soon. We put together a list of 19 city guiding principles. And actually, I think there's, if you go to the Strong Towns Facebook page, that's Strong Towns Sioux Falls. And I think you're on it. If not, I'll invite you. So we put together a list of 19 city guiding principles. These principles are all were taken from a number of lists from around. Oh, you're not. Oh, boom. I'm gonna have to. I'll let you. Okay, there it is. Asked to join. Boom. Approved. Boom.
Woo!
Woo! So you're now in the group. Okay, so. Go to scroll down a little bit. Where do I have it? I think I have it in files. I think it's in files. If you go over to the left, yeah. City guiding principles early. This is an early draft, so I won't get into like some of the wording in the main paragraphs, but the whole core concept is here. So this was based off of a.
No ice in paradise, number 1.
What?
Number 1, no ice in paradise. All right, but
you can suggest that one. That's part of the process. I would like this. No ice in paradise, number 15. Yeah. So these are based off of a number of city guiding principles from around the country, because there are tons of communities that have core principles that they use for like guiding development and initiatives and projects and whatnot. This was mostly informed by a community in San Viejo, California. They did a very awesome job of getting feedback from their community on it.
Did you find a lot of stuff that would translate between San Diego, California, and Sioux Falls?
Oh, yeah. There were some things we had to adapt, most certainly. And like we were looking at another one from San Francisco. A lot of them on the like the West Coast have a lot of places that with principles set up. But these are so there's stuff like healthy community, beautiful city, a place that people want to be. Well, what we did at this potluck is we had this big installation. It was 4 sides. And these different, so we had nature and the built environment on one side, and then a beautiful city, a place people want to be, iconic waterfront. We had those on the installation, and then we had a muralist paint a galaxy sort of cosmos thing, and we made these little pegs that slid into slots. And so throughout the week it was up, people could put their choice for their principle on it, so you could see like what people care about. Like, do you care about a sense of place? Do you care about, if you go down, one of my favorites is economic development aligned with the natural environment. So it's just like, you don't just rail over your natural resources, you work in balance with them, i.e. like our river, which...
like the thing you throw toxic waste into?
Yeah, that place.
If you're working around here?
Yeah, that place.
Oh, yeah, that place. Okay.
So that runoff from morale stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or our lawns, that too.
You mean the stuff under the oil from the spill last week? No, I don't know.
No.
There's no. Hopefully not.
What is it? The 12th most polluted river in the United States. I think the Big Sioux River
I think it's higher than that. I think it's like one of the most polluted in the U.S. and then it's like 16th
in the world.
In the world.
Okay. It's good our
bad.
name.
We covered it back when they did their latest thing, and it was bad. Whatever it is.
If they ever divert the water supply from wherever it's coming and not... or never mind. Sorry, Flint.
No,
Michigan.
But the fact that our namesake is just a sewage dump in a way. Like, and what we do is we don't bring it up. We're like, oh, we don't talk about that. It's like, just talk about it. You talk about your weaknesses. You try to make them better, right? Like that's what a lot of this is it's built to be like this framework where everyone's talking about the same language, whether you be a developer or a bank owner or you're just some person off the street. And you're going to city council and you're talking in the same context. So we put this together. We had this thing on December 5th. Also at the event, we printed out these feedback forms on big sheets of paper so people could have input. Like you could just cross out a section or circle something or put a Post-it note on it and just get to people to wrestle with these ideas. And these aren't, I don't want these to be the final principles. If they're completely different at the end of this process, and it's going to take till the end of 2019 because we're going to do feedback sessions around the country, or excuse me, not the country, excuse me, around the city.
So you being a New Yorker,
what's your thoughts on the pride and identity in Sioux Falls, South Dakota? No, so, and then as we're looking at the Facebook page, there's a large selection of different things. This is actually, Bernard, but Caleb Hoffman. He posted a thing about the Mayors Conference, the United States Conference of Mayors. Several mayors went to Burning Man to learn about resiliency in harsh environments. Basically, how do you make a pop-up city and make it interactive and inclusive?
A lot of acid,
exactly. But so and that's actually this conference. This Mayor Tenhagen would have gone to the United States Conference of Mayors. In fact, he went there early summer, if I'm not mistaken. So like, and I think this is Burning Man does it. Some of the best community building, literal community building. It's week long. Or in a week they build a city, and then for another week they live in that city, and I think there's a lot to learn from things like this. Or let's scroll down. Let's see what else pops up. There's let's get somebody else. That's a Studio B thing. Right here. Okay. Clint has been cataloging all of the little old commercial buildings tucked in neighborhoods across the city. So these, at some point, these were like town, they were like general stores, barbershops, community gathering spaces, places that people could go and interact with people or buy things or whatever.
Like chat rooms.
Yeah. Yeah, news groups.
You mean like on the messenger?
Yeah, like on the messengers, but with people there.
In person? Like on the VRs? Sorry.
No, you're good. But so then we have there was a thread and for instance, Zach DeBoer contributed I don't know how many. He had a heyday and found a bunch more commercial spaces and we added it to the list.
So what was the mission of the cataloging all of these locations?
I think, here's the thing. We believe that these should be converted back into storefronts. I personally think that if you were to have if I'm living in a neighborhood, the ability to walk down to a place to grab some coffee, chat with people, see what's going on, just in the morning, I would love that. In fact, that's what I loved about when I was living in Denver, when I was living in Chicago, when I was living in any number of cities across the United States or the world, you had the ability to walk and interact with people. And I think that's what makes a city, the people are what make a city great. It's not the buildings, it's not the what other elements of the city, but it's the people. So if you find more ways to create contact points with people, you'll have a much better quality of life overall.
You talked about like turning them back into storefronts. What are they?
Some of them are vacant. Some of them are vacant. Some of them are houses, like are like actual like living spaces, or like say it's maybe apartment up top, and then the bottom level is like a storefront. It's just any number of things, and I think especially if you were to get in communities that are food deserts, like areas that don't have access to fresh food outside of, say, 1 to 2 miles. I forget what the rating is for food deserts, but essentially, if you create more ways for people to gather fresh food, have community, make sure that those spaces are flex spaces that could be used for like little town hall events, or like, say if you need to like rehearse a show. I don't know how many bands people talk about wanting to find a space to rehearse, and that's a problem for me. I know I like to teach class. I'm throw this in here. I'm a certified actor combatant in the Society of American Fight Directors. So when I was working the theater, I would choreograph fights, sword fights and things. I have been trying to find a good space here to teach sword fighting. I have 16 swords. And I want to find a space. If someone is listening and you want to collab with me to do like sword fighting, I can teach swashbuckling. I'm certified in quarterstaff, broadsword, small sword, knife. We can do whips.
Can I be a student?
Sure. Yes. Absolutely. I want students. I want like the fight community. This is a different. So when we're talking about building communities, it's often like you were talking in the last episode, it's like podcasts, right? You focus on a niche. We need spaces that focus on niches. I think one of the best things that's happened to downtown Sioux Falls right now is the Full Circle Book Co-op. I think it is so awesome because there's a place where us literature nerds can go and geek out. And it's like, and hang out and meet people, and there's writing happening, there's comedy, I do this, I'm gonna, next week, we're gonna start reading through the entire canon of Shakespeare every Friday night. We've been doing a few on Sundays, but we're gonna move it to Friday to get more people there. And we're just gonna read Shakespeare. We're doing Henry VI Part 1 on this Friday, and then we're gonna chip through the entire canon. But if you wanna go back to the Strong Towns page, scroll down. There's just tons of content on here. What's this? Permaculturist designed our cities. Yeah, that's probably from Caleb. But it's like all these. You got people from an agricultural background. You got people from an architectural background. We got folks from the different nonprofit organizations downtown that come through. And there's just like, sometimes there's artists. Sometimes there's construction workers. Sometimes there's any number of individuals. And anyone is invited to it. Like this one right here is the Jungle Gym. A library runs a mini ecosystem to teach kids about urban farming. This is in Japan. I think just outside Tokyo. And it's like these environments that are just multifaceted and like built to be climbed and aren't just obviously like, oh, it's a playground. Like playgrounds suck in the United States right now. Like the playgrounds.
When they get rid of all the sheet metal rockets and stuff, you get to decapitate.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to say, like, you know what the best time was? Remember, did anyone ever play in the Queen City Mill? When it was the ruins?
No.
So back when I was like 5 years old, I remember playing in the ruins, and it was open. There was no gate. It was just there. And it was like being Indiana Jones. It was the coolest. And I remember that it being such a formative element of my childhood. We don't allow kids to explore. We don't allow kids to have adventures like that. And yes, there is danger, but that's risk assessment. You have to like learn not to like get your head chopped off. And that's, I mean, obviously don't make like completely unsafe playgrounds, but
sure.
The guillotine was a bad idea.
Yeah, that was a bad idea.
But monkey bars do a guillotine.
But don't rub
lining the slide with the punchy sticks was just like, that was a bit much.
No third grader could land it. We should have known.
But just, I mean, don't encase everything in rubber and foam. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of Strong Towns is it's just a bunch of us folks getting together and talking things out, and then some things come. I mean, we got some interesting projects on the in the pipeline that I'm hoping that we get initiated within the next couple months, and who knows where it goes. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what the new mayor brings. I feel like some of the things that Sioux Falls has added just from, like, the government standpoint, like, everybody, there's a heckload of, excuse me, edit that one out. Hey, yo, edit it out. But there's a lot of, like, great, people that are just, on the cutting edge of whatever. They're killing it. But then it seems like the government of Sioux Falls doesn't really fall in line with that, and they kind of
mitigate risk.
Sure,
it's not, and I think that's
going back to your theme from the first one.
Yeah,
mitigating risk.
Yeah, it's not that they don't like. I'm going to talk about the burning winter thing later because there's a whole thing where I met with fire marshals and everything to make it happen. It's you have to meet them where they're at. And I think it's about recognizing that they're not the enemy, but you just have to make sure that, like, it's like, hey, I've taken care of these things, da-da-da-da-da. Here's an example of how it works. This is the economic development model. They have to find all those things because they have to mitigate. If they screw up, and because they have screwed up, we've seen it, it's a bad situation for them. So they're not going to take risks. They're going to know what works. So it's about, okay, how do you... And I have to say, I've banged my chest so much of my life, and I've realized it just doesn't work to just like shout and yell because no one listens. If you have to say, hey, come with me, I want to show you something, except less creepy.
Hey, let me show you something. Like Fire Marshal Bo.
So I think it's, and that's where Strong Towns is all about, like, well, at least the Sioux Falls chapter anyway, is all about you do that thing. Like, you keep doing what you do. We'll support you. We want you to, like, be successful at it. But you have to do it.
Right.
You can't just sit and complain, oh, well, why isn't this thing happening? Oh, this thing. No, we'll just get off your ass and do it. Make it. Like, if you're so frustrated with something that doesn't exist, well, then make it.
Hey, man, I walk around Sioux Falls high out of my mind, and I'm doing my part for that, all right? I'm
awesome.
Staying stoned and to the chorus. Now, where are we going?
We all play our part. Play our part. Yeah. But, yeah.
To that, with the taking action with...
Yeah.
This seems like a group that would have a lot of, like, high-minded ideas and a lot of, like... just like spitballing ideas, stuff like that. How do you take that and turn that into action with regards to, like, the political structure and the business structure and everything of the community? Because, I mean, it's great you can sit down and...
Chat. Talk and talk. Talk is cheap.
Yep.
Talk is cheap.
And then... but I'm just like, but do you guys also go to city council meetings and talk about this?
So, when we do our actions, I think they're very specific. For city council, I've not gone to city council to speak because I'm waiting to do that.
Okay.
I'm waiting for the time that I need to speak because I don't want it to be like, oh, there's Jordan again. It's like, no, I'm coming up for a very specific reason, and I'm going to be very prepared with what I'm going to present. It's probably going to be involved with the principles because that's kind of like... And I see the principles as that you're creating a foundational framework where everyone is speaking the same language. Now, it's not a building or anything like that, but it is a framework for us to kind of have some, like, oh, okay, I can wrestle with this idea now because we have some direction to go. Because I don't think we have a direction. I think we're just kind of like flailing right now and saying, oh, well, that might work. Oh, that's cool. And like stumbling and accidentally discovering things, as opposed to being like, no, we need to take these actions in order to create a better ecosystem for entrepreneurs, for makers, for artists, for any number of, for bankers, for medical. They don't need help, but just in terms of like across all facets, all niches, creating that ecosystem. So I think for us, like, I guess this actually is a good segue to the burning winter. So my whole thing with Strong Towns is I love events. I come from a theater background. I love cool things. I love seeing cool things. Burning Man is like my thing. I love that. And I would love to see the environment, an environment that elicits joy. Like you go to someplace and it just makes you happy. And that's a thing. That's a real thing. You have to actually focus on making a space like that. It's not just like accidentally, I guess you're joyful when you go walk in here. It's like, no, there are designers that spend their entire lives understanding how to create spaces like that, or products or whatever. What I see is events are an opportunity to show a path to something that you can like. Not one person can create the future. It's a collective effort. So what I can do is I can facilitate an experience, an event. So that event, the next one anyway, the big focus will be is on a thing called Burning Winter. I wanted to figure out how do you create collective catharsis within the city, because there's no place to do that. It's stamped. It's hand stamped.
I see that.
Stamp.
Yeah, got stamps. We made stamps last night and did them. So the idea is, I was trying to figure out, and Clint Brown was helping me figure this out as well. How do you create that sort of unifying event around a central spectacle? And when you look at like the likes of Burning Man, or he showed me Zozoberfest. It's like, what's a thing that, that would be too crazy. If I said, hey, we're going to do a Midwestern Burning Man, people would just be like, oh my God, we can't have, they just can't. Talk to Clint about the time he tried to get a water slide on the street.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I was around for that.
Yeah. And it's a thing. And it was like, so I was like, okay, I know that was a thing that happened for Clint. So how do I create something that's safe and accessible, but still allows for like that sort of anarchist Burning Man creative spirit to come out for at least a day? So we're looking through researching, and we found Sommertagszug. It is a 500-year-old German Yeah, thank you. Sommertagszug. It is a German festival. 30% of the population of Sioux Falls is German. The Dutch, which is 8%, I believe, also have a very similar festival. It's basically, they kill winter. It comes, so like 500 years ago, they're in their cottages, it is cold, they get to spring, it starts to warm up, they take all the hay, all the insulation out of their building, put it out into the field and set it on fire. And then they grow that year's crop in the ashes. And so that had been, and also that act has been happening. These sorts of festivals of burning, say, like you could say effigies or symbolic structures, have been with us for thousands of years since our understanding of fire. And so I was like, okay, this is a way to sell it, because this is something we're connecting with, a tradition that is older than our country, that the United States itself. And so I said, okay, started reaching out to the fire marshals. I was originally going to do it at the WH Line Fairgrounds because I wanted to do a big burn.
Yeah.
And so I went through all the proper steps to get it. I got to the meeting in the WH Line Fairgrounds. Because actually Hartford controls has jurisdiction with the WH Line Fairgrounds. So I got the Hartford Fire Marshal, got the City Fire Marshal in the room, and we just talked it out. And then I connected with a producer out of LA who does similar events. She laid out some core information that I need to take care of. I looked at the Burning Man site that has all the safety considerations in dealing burn structures, and I created a 40-page pamphlet and set it on their desk and say, hey, this is what we got. And so what my point is, so this Burning Winter is going to happen March 23rd at high noon. We're going to start the festivities. You will not see any of this on social media. I'm talking this on a podcast, but you will not see anything on social media. We are going to have hand pamphlets. If you find out about it, cool. If you don't, sorry. And so it's just all about the mystery. It's all about what's going to happen. I'm talking to a lot of people about making that day kind of a surprise. So but the point is, I made that I put this together to be this sort of create this explosion of culture for at least a day. So that's kind of the idea.
That sounds very cool.
Yeah.
I dig it. Yeah. That is dope.
So if you're listening and you want to be a part of Burning Winter, go to Jam Art Supplies this week. You can check out the part of the tree that we're going to burn. So you when you go in, actually, no, I'm just going to leave you to figure out what happens at the space. There's a bit of interaction with the tree. We're essentially then going to have some different happenings that go on leading up to the event, and then on the day at dusk, I think is our timeline, we're going to set it on fire and just have a big old burning tree.
I mean, if you've grown up in South Dakota, you've gone to a bonfire, so I mean, yeah, and
it's not a hard sell.
No. You know, go outside, stand by a warm thing. Fuck yeah, warmth.
Warmth? Life? Oh.
Yes, I'm there.
So, yeah.
It sounds like a lot of fun. That's
I
a very
dig
cool
the mystery
project.
thing, and I definitely like flying under the social media radar. That makes it all the more community enriching sort of feel to it. And
you have to hear about it. It's not like if somebody posts about it on social media, okay, fine. But you're not going to hear about it on social media. I decided
100% organic.
Yeah.
Social media.
Yeah. I guess I'm on here talking about it, but I'm talking about it.
Yeah.
It's not a thing where it's like I'm putting it through the Facebook platform or whatever. It's like, no, I'll talk about it through things like this.
It's a cool concept to talk about. So
yeah.
Because we don't get a lot of, we get art installations here and things like that, but we don't, as a community, I think we're still pretty new on the, like, high concept, kind of like art exhibition event kind of thing like this. In this
experience.
Area. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. What's...
See, I don't even have the language.
Yeah. So, but what's crazy is that the things I'm talking about are old. They're so old. Like the Zobrafest down in Santa Fe has been going for 94 years. They've been doing this. And they have this whole mythos and things. I learned about the Winter Carnival in St. Paul that has this whole, like these demon Vulcan things that, like, will kiss you on the cheek or something with black lipstick. I don't know. That's been going on for, like, decades.
You're talking about with the ice castle and all that?
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
So much fun.
Yeah.
It was a great time.
And it's like I go back with Sioux Falls. Sioux Falls is an anomaly. We had something like 14 theaters in downtown Sioux Falls at around the turn of the century into the leading up to like the 1930s. I check my facts. You can go. There's actually a display at the old courthouse museum on it, and we bulldozed most of them.
Yep.
Made way for parking lots.
So if you ever check out those books or those sites that are like a Sioux Falls history or like Sioux Falls Undercover or whatever, they have pictures of like we had an Aztec theater.
Yeah.
We had a whole bunch of like themed ones. Like there was like
megaplexes. Yeah. And we got rid of, and also like performing spaces too. Like they're like just the whole concept of the vaudevillian tradition.
Yeah.
That happened all over the United States. But I think my point is that you look at that and you can see where things went. We went insular. We went into our houses, or we went to the mall, and we forgot what culture was. We forgot like those community elements, and now we're having to rebuild it. And so I think that's why it's like my part in, like, say, strong towns or building a strong town is doing stuff like Burning Winter, because I know it. I know that's where I can work. And then on March 23rd, what I want conversation about where can we go And we don't have to just stick to this predetermined plan that was established by a small group of people, wholly focused on economic development outside of anything else, outside of cultural development. Honestly, if you focus on culture, economic development will follow. Because, like, I mean, look at Austin. Look at anything, any
and
cool
that's
city.
Actually, like, I did some college courses and stuff for, like, city administrators.
Yeah.
And public administrators. And that was one of their big things, was just, like, you desperately want the creatives, and you want, you know, just, like, as far as, like, keeping your community alive and vibrant, and attracting, like, a young workforce that actually, like, creates economic development. It's like, that's a huge, important factor that, you know, communities need to, like, foster, because it's like you can, and Sioux Falls has had this, it's getting better, much better, but Sioux Falls, that's part of its problem, like, in the early aughts and the late 90s, was just, it was like, yeah, there were a bunch of jobs here,
medical, banking, manufacturing, and a bit of agriculture, and it was just full steam ahead on all of those things, and then building single family residential homes.
Yep.
To house them. But there was like, well, for culture, I guess we have the mall.
Yeah, or I can watch a movie.
But there was like, they went on this whole thing where it's like, oh, well, we have all, so you can raise a family, da-da-da-da. It's like, now you are competing in the age of social media. You're competing with so many cities. You're competing cities across the world. I would save more money living in Thailand building websites than I would living here. So it's like, I think it's what they have to realize is that you have to really be harnessing and looking at different ways to build culture and community. And it's not this homogenous sort of approach that has been, there's a thing called, you know, polymath? You know the word polymath?
Yeah.
Okay, well, any listeners who don't know polymath is basically someone who is good or great at a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And then you have a monomath, which is someone who's specialized in one thing. They're wholly focused on that. We have a lot of monomaths in this community. That's not bad. I mean, it's good to have people that are good at what they do.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with that. But when you are so monomath heavy, you have this homogenous sort of thing, and so anyone who is creative in this space, in this place, feels like an outcast. I know that first time I showed up here, I felt like an outcast. This very cliquey town that has a problem with, I mean, there's not even here's a big thing. There's not even a town square. Where's the center of Sioux Falls? Where is the center?
A great question.
Phillips Avenue.
But it's a road.
Yep.
It's in the middle of the road? Is that the center of the...
I don't know, man, but that's what it feels like. It feels like the center is right around the icon. Right around there, probably. I don't know, man. I don't know where the fuck it is.
It's at one
Because there isn't one.
That one place, exactly.
Yeah, the Cataract, where the Wells Fargo building is downtown, there's the Cataract Hotel. It was demolished in the 1920s. That was the closest thing that we had to a town square. It's actually where the numbers start. So, like... We don't have a permeable plaza. We're talking, that's basic. I'm telling you. I mean, we got traditionalists in this town. Like people that are, we like traditional values. Okay, what's more traditional than a town square? We've had them since Mesopotamia, 8,000 years ago. Like, you mean to tell me we don't have a town square? And again, though, it's like talking with monomaths who are focused on, like, they'll go to work and then they'll go to their favorite restaurant and then they'll go home. They don't understand town squares. They don't understand the concept because they've been isolating themselves in their houses for how long that they don't understand that concept of community. So if we have a permeable space where people just like, oh, look at that dude, he's playing the bassoon. Oh, that guy's reading poetry. Oh, that guy's making chalk art. Or there's a b-ball game session like happening right now. There's things happening. You could say, oh, meet me at the square, and you know where to go. We don't have that, and that's such a like basic thing. That's where I get frustrated. But I have to like breathe, and just
stop beating that chest.
Yep, stop beating that chest.
Start using that voice.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I never thought about that. But yeah, town square. That does sound like basic, as you're saying, but so enriching. I mean, yeah, I think of just
any great city.
Yeah.
Venice. Like, oh gosh. It's just you lose your heart in it. Like those spaces, like think about those places. That's maybe what it is like we constantly vacation, we constantly leave the city to feel that from spaces. Why don't we bring that here? It's like we need to put value on, yes, it's in terms of an investment. Initially, it's not going to be as good as putting 8% down on a hotel. Excuse me, not 8% down, but making 8% on your investment on a hotel property. Yeah, that would probably make you more money. But a space that is a plaza, a space that is a place where people can gather, that is how you're investing in the future, investing in culture. I wish there was just more mentality like that. As from our city leaders, from the developers in the city understanding, it's like we need basic amenities in order to enrich our ecosystem. Yeah.
Nice. One last thing, if you wanted to get in there. Okay, I want to hear a little bit about the state of criticism in Sioux Falls.
Oh, yeah.
If you got we got a little bit of time.
Yeah.
If you would, that one jumped out at me here. So, what up with that? We're not critical on it?
I'm gonna combine two of those things, and it's gonna work within criticism.
Okay.
I hate nice. I hate the word nice.
That's nice.
Yeah, right. I hate it.
Bless your heart.
I know. Oh gosh, you're so nice. I like honest and direct. That's what I like. I like people that are like straight as an arrow and just like say it as it is and stop wasting my time. Like just say it and so I come from a theater background. You thrive on notes. As an actor, as a director, as a designer, you need guidance. You need a frame. Like I need those notes so that I can make my whatever I'm doing better. Here, I feel like everyone's just being so just nice. Oh, that was so good. Or oh, you did such a great job. It's like no. Give me something. Give me criticism. And also too, it's like. It's a two-way street. You got to be welcoming to the criticism, but at the same time, in terms of delivering criticism, you need to be doing it in a way that is like has a certain specificity that will help, or like a note. Like I'm trained as a director. I worked as a director professionally. When you're giving a note to an actor, you have to understand the where that person is in their life. What character that they're dealing with, and you have to choose your words wisely about how you're presenting these things so that you're criticizing in a way them as an actor. Obviously they're portraying a character and everything, but sometimes you're addressing things like in the podcast studio. I have to address things like when they do little ticks and things, and I have to bring that up, and I have to be like very like, because some people, that's how they talk. So it's just like, well, you need to tweak it for this because it's on display. It's a performance. So I would love this community to understand that criticism is not a bad thing. It is not inherently negative. In fact, criticism means that you want something to be better. But then also, too, we have to be better about how we construct criticism so that it actually brings about a positive result. And I really wish that we, like, as a community, were just more critical. Not so damn nice. Hate nice. It means simple person, by the way. The etymology of nice, it came from a simple person. So a nice person was a stupid person. That's where it comes from. Anyway.
I'm trying to remember in some movie, she's talking about her husband, and she's just like, you're just so nice and simple and simple. So,
exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I've called a lot of stupid people nice, and maybe some people have called me nice.
They're nice.
They're nice.
Nice.
They're nice. So yeah. A lot of Minnesota nice.
Oh yeah,
being
don't you know?
used on food, and you go out to eat, and you don't say anything around here. It's just like, okay, well, not gonna tell them that it was shit. I'm just never coming back.
Yeah,
here.
I'm just never coming back. Here.
I'm not gonna
go home unhappy.
Yeah, and they're just gonna keep making that shitty food.
Yep.
Over and over again, instead of you saying like, well, actually, it's a little overcooked. And I like the restaurant owners that I have a relationship with, and I can actually be honest with them. I'll be like, well, there was a bowl of ramen and I had, and it was, well, okay, I'll just disclose names. At Bread and Circus, went to Bread and Circus. Love Jordan. He's awesome. Love his food. Go there. It's so good. But there was a bowl of ramen that was it was just a little off. It was too salty or something. I can't, and I was like, oh, that's a little odd. And we had a conversation about it. We talked about no, you're right. I went back. I had the ramen again. He changed it so much better. He fixed it, and it was like, oh, awesome. And he kind of changed that recipe up a little bit. And it's like, that's the sort of thing we need to be doing more actively. And I think with our city officials, especially, or with community leaders, or with just or people doing art. I mean, sometimes with artists around here, it's like you can't talk bad about anything they do because, oh no, it's their art. It's like, fucking, you putting it out there, you're gonna get criticized. If you don't have the ability, if you're not strong enough to take criticism and you're putting things out there, don't put stuff out there. Simple as that. And I don't know. Whiners, I don't like them, but I'm whining about whiners though. So anyway,
somebody had to do it.
Yeah,
I mean, they were just gonna keep whining if we didn't whine about them.
Stop whining.
Stop whining.
Stop whining.
Get to the jobber.
Yeah.
Very nice.
The Sioux Empire Podcast proudly presents this week's Shameless Plugs.
Well, Jordan, I think you know the drill by now.
Yeah.
You just, any websites, social media people should follow you on, any events you've got going on, things like that.
So if you want to join the conversation, Strong Towns, go to Strongtown Sioux Falls. You can join the Facebook group. Go to strongtowns.org to learn about the Strong Towns movement. And come to our meetings on Wednesdays at 5:30 at the Source, and then and also go to JM Art Supplies this week. Or well, when is this airing? I don't know.
1 week from today.
Okay, so it might be gone. So you better get down to Jam.
Have you been there?
Have you been there? It was cool.
It's gone now.
Yeah, it's gone now. So sorry. Yeah. That's what I got.
Alrighty. Seth, do you have anything to plug?
I'd like to plug, all of our patrons. We got one, Matt Paulson. Thanks, buddy. Jordan Deffenbaugh. Thanks for being here. That's how it's pronounced. That's how it's said. That's how it's called.
That's how it's done.
Yeah. Dude. Thanks for coming to Sioux Falls, or coming back to Sioux Falls, and not making buku bucks in Bangkok.
It's quite the alliteration going on there.
That's nice, though.
Thank you.
Buku bucks in Bangkok.
I mean, you said Thailand. It was fucking easy. I don't know. You set that softball up, and I just, bam, right out of the park.
Nailed it.
So that's all. That's the best I'm going to do. Natasha, what do you got?
What everyone else said.
Buku bucks in Bangkok.
She's doing the bwah, 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 ditto. Alrighty. Let's see. As always, I'll be shamelessly plugging all the projects that we do here at the Sioux Empire Podcast Network. You've got the Dress Code is super funny. Lots of great local comedians and local bands. Watch them all be crazy and goofy and sometimes drunk on a couch. That's the Dress Code.
Hot.
Let's see. We've got Urban Indians Podcast. If you're curious about what's going on in the Native American community and the local hip hop scene, that's great podcast for that.
Real savage. Real sad, bro. I like it.
Yeah, and then of course our podcast here. Let's see. And as always, if you like all this stuff that we produce and we do around here, and the like local news coverage that we provide, be sure to check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/Sioux Falls. You can get behind the scenes content, learn more about what we do, and support the work that we're doing, including working on that big audio drama Edge case, which at the time this airs, I'm hoping I will have announced some audition dates, but we will see if that happens. So once again, thank you all for coming this week, and we will see you all next week.
See you later.